This is a
squad. What's up? What's up?
That ball is belted. Welcome in Carlos Gomez. Hello. Goodbye. Ay, 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 ay. Oh man, yeah. We rockin' now for real. Yeah. BS3 Sports. Okay. Sports news, get it first when you're getting off of work. Even when you're at work, acting like you're working hard when you're hardly working. I'm a maverick like Dirk, getting Franklin's like Kirk. Hold up, boy. X-Squad, you don't know them boys? Being talking facts on every topic. Overall, we just talking noise, just being boys. Covering Texas sports in them tall hills. That with the fake pass over to Elliott. Better guard your grills like a car for real. Yeah, Cowboys gonna bring a bowl back, Lord willing. Yeah, Mavericks gonna bring a ring back with Mark in it. We live sports, we talk sports, we dream sports, we eat sports. The teacher about to teach the course. Welcome to BS3 Sports.
The weekly show.
Ay, 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 ay. Gross. Oh, man, yeah.
Welcome to the BS3 Sports Show. Friday, May 17th. We got a great show planned for today. We got a lot to talk about, especially last night's game. We're going to get into that. Warriors, Trailblazers. Portland definitely let one go. But we'll be recapping that game. NBA draft lottery was this week. NFL news, Big Three news. Also, Wilder versus Breazeale. And the title of today's show is Next Time, Dub Nation, Next Time. And that's in reference to if anybody watched Inspector Gadget growing up, you always remember at the end of the show, the Claw would always be trying to get Inspector Gadget. At the end of it, he would always say, next time, Gadget, next time. So that's what Portland's saying right now. Next time, Warriors, next time. I think they may get one. They may possibly get one in Portland. But they needed and they had to, I believe, win a game in Oakland in order for them to even have a shot. And at this point, what the Warriors are doing without KD, it's not unheard of because they've done it before. But they're going up against this Portland team that's hungry. That's hungry. They were up by 15 at halftime. And they truly and honestly, no other way to really put it, they let this one slip away. And we'll talk specifically about some last key plays in the game. But this is a tough loss. This is tough to come back from. This isn't one of those losses that you can just brush it off and everything will be all fine. This was a hard, tough loss for Portland. And like I said, they were leading by 15 at the half. So I'm thinking, okay, they should have a shot. I knew in the back of my mind that I just didn't see them winning it. I just didn't think they had enough when it came down the stretch to be able to win. And obviously, I was correct. You just think of down the stretch, you had opportunity after opportunity, shooting ill-advised threes. You know, and a three is only a bad shot. A three is only a bad shot when it doesn't go in. When it does go in, it's a great shot because it goes in. But when it does not go in, then it's a horrible shot. And there was plenty of times CJ McCollum jacking up threes. You had Dame Lillard who's been money behind the three. But there was times in that fourth quarter that you're shooting long range threes, hopefully trying to get a foul. And at the end of this game, the refs pretty much let them play. That's what it looked like. They let them play. There was some hand checking. You talk about that last play with Iggy going up against Dame. There was definitely some hand checking right there. There was definitely some hand checking there. I think it was a foul before the shot, but I would say that was a clean strip. That was a clean block, and the game was over. Now, if they would have called the foul before that, I would understand that, but this was not that was not a shooting foul, in my opinion. And I want to get you guys' thoughts on it. Shout out to Low Key, submissive in the building. Also, excuse me, let me back up. People in the chat room, let me back up. Mo Cheese in the building first. Miss Mocha Bella, thank you for tuning in. Minister of Media, getting all the shows and promoting them out there. Me and her, we tag team. I'm promoting and she's promoting, so I appreciate all your help. Mo Cheese says to lose a 15-point lead is roughly 8 minutes as to be deflating. Facts. Raider Kev in the building. Melvin in the building. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just like last year, Portland should have known the Warriors were coming in the third. And that's what they've been. If you can say anything about the Warriors, they seem to be a second half team. When the second half rolls around, specifically the fourth quarter, it's almost like they get into another gear. I don't know honestly how they do it. I don't know honestly how you continue to go into the fourth quarter down, or to go in the second half down, and it's almost like you just make things happen. And I want to give a shout out to Jungle Brother, because in one of the group chats, he was talking about having Evan Turner, I believe his name is Evan Turner, in the game late. That to me, that was a bad choice. But when you really think about it, who does Portland have? Who does Portland truly have that they don't need to be playing Evan Turner? They have two great players in CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard. Everybody else is role players. Everybody else is add-ons. Everybody else is, I hope that they'll be able to do and that they'll be able to contribute. That's really what it comes down to. And the Warriors flat out have more. The Warriors have more. H-Rap and Vern were laughing at halftime, says Melvin. I bet they were. And then they were stopped. Facts, Mo. Mo, I demand a recount. I think I won. That's in response to Mo. So this series seems to be all but over. I don't want to be the doom and gloom for Portland, but to come back down 2 against one of the best teams in the world of all time, that's going to be extremely hard to do. Not only is it going to be extremely hard to do, but this is pretty much impossible. And like I've always said on this show, if something happens, if I was wrong, I would definitely come back on here and say that I was wrong. But I don't see any way possible that the Portland will be able to win this series. It's just, it just seems like it's going to be too much. And the matchups, they don't match up. They don't match up well at all. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, the background listeners, new listeners. Thank you guys for tuning in. Join in on the show chat room, create a profile. It is completely free. And all you have to do, create a profile. You can join in on the conversation. It gets fun. It gets rowdy. You will laugh. You will enjoy yourself. And I'll give you a shout out. So it really doesn't get any better than that. And I value anybody, whatever comments you have, I value those. And looking forward to what comments you have. We got H-Rap B, the grand verbalizer, in the building. And when it all comes down to it, Portland does not match up. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care how you dice it. I don't care how you put it in a blender. I don't care if you put it in a Vitamix. I don't care what you do. Portland cannot match up against the Warriors. Period, point blank, comma, exclamation point, whatever. Evan Turner's in the game because they don't have anybody else. That's the reason why he was in the game. Rodney Hood's getting all this playing time because they don't have anyone else. And going up against this team and the Warriors, you can be as close as you want to be. But when it all comes down to it, can you make the plays at the end of the game? Portland could not do it. They couldn't do it. They were up by 15 at the half. They let that lead slip away. Like Mochi said, I think it was 8 minutes. I mean, with the quickness, that lead was gone. That 15-point lead was evaporated in the quickness. So, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for them. But let's go at some key points in the game. We already talked about Portland being up by 15, but Portland got off to a great start. They were hitting their shots. Dame Lillard hitting his shots in stride. It was looking good. Durant was already going to be out for this game. It was announced that he will not play game 3 or 4. He was in the building, though. He was in the building. He was in the back. I think he's getting around-the-clock treatment so that he can get back as soon as possible. But what it seems like, though, is he doesn't really need to rush back. He doesn't really need to rush back as far as this series goes. He doesn't. Because it's truly looking like a wrap right about now. But KD was in the building. Obviously, he did not play. He wasn't on the sideline. If you remember, I think it was last year or the year before last, CJ McCollum made a tweet, and this lady named Jennifer responded to the tweet, and she said, win a playoff game first. CJ McCollum said, I'm trying, Jennifer. So if you watched any of that or know what I'm talking about, this lady, shout out to this lady, Jennifer. I don't know what her last name is, but she has claimed her 15 minutes, and she is dominating it. She's got T-shirts she's selling. She got a website. She's got a podcast. But her and CJ McCollum met before the game. I thought that was pretty cool. Curry drops 37. There was a point in the game where Seth Curry's at the line, and Seth comes up to him and says, that's like 70 in a row. And Steph's response was about to be 72. So they're going at each other. I think that's great for basketball. Seeing two brothers play in the conference finals, it's the first time ever. Their parents are there in the stands. Dell Curry had on the Blazers on one side and the Warriors on the other side. I mean, to me, that's great. That's a great TV. That's a great storyline. You can put that any way you want. But I'm sure it's nerve-wracking for them too, because it's both of these kids are your sons. In the back of your mind, though, you do kind of have to know that one is better than the other one at a lot of aspects of the game. But Seth is not a slouch, though, at all. But there are some similarities, there are some differences, but these are still your kids. And you seeing them going at it, there was a jumper that Seth hit, and they pan the camera over to Dell Curry, and he's got a smile on his face, but he's at the same time he's got his hand on his head like he's nervous. So it's got to be a little nerve-wracking, though. It has to be. Shout out to Courtney Harden, the real deal, in the building. Mochi says that 2 to 4, I'm going old school. Mo, open lines and request. So make sure to tune in to that coming up right after this show. Ben, you've been trying to tell these individuals for far too long about nobody stopping Golden State, bro. We appreciate you trying to get it straight. I'm just calling it like I see it, man. I'm just calling it like I see it. KD has no reason to come back until they reach the finals. Kev, Clutch Talk Sports in the building. He'll be coming on at 3